Welcome to the Echo Driving School channel. We're going to be doing another test route from the Mitcham test route. We're going to be the one that's located near Sutton. Now, as I've said before, when you're coming out the test centre, the speed should be no more than 10 miles an hour. As you're coming out the test centre, look out for oncoming cars, and if there are any oncoming cars, you need to give way on your side and to make sure that there is enough space for you to allow both cars to pass. At the end of this road, turn right please. So check your center mirror, your right mirror, give a right signal, clutch down into first gear and slowly peep and creep. What you want to do is make sure that you're not causing any cars to slow down because of you. If you do have to stop, make sure you put your handbrake on and you're looking at both sides to make sure that there is no cars coming. What is advisable is to peep forward slightly and to look and to make sure that there's no cars coming. When the time is right and you're not causing anybody to slow down, take the turn. As soon as you've turned, make sure you look at your center mirror and you look out for any cars coming out the BP petrol station. We're approaching a traffic light, it's green, so we're going to be approaching it with caution, checking my center mirror and making sure that I'm covering my brakes just in case there is any pedestrian. There's a little bit of traffic ahead, so obviously when you're driving traffic, make sure you keep a good distance from the car in front, not following the car too closely, and make sure you're focusing your eyes not just on the car in front, but the car in front of that car, so that you can plan the road ahead. Checking my mirrors to see how far the car is following me behind and making progress as I go along here. Over here, the examiner could start off with independent driving or could delay it for later on. Depending on what the examiner does, you follow accordingly. So there's a car coming up on my right, so I'm just going to cover my brakes just in case, and the lights ahead have just turned red. There's also a road on the left. I'm going to keep that clear. Well, the cars in front of it's done that for me. Now, the actual space I want to keep from the car in front is tyres and tarmac. So from where I'm sitting, I should be able to see his tyres and the tarmac of the road, so that I don't follow the car too closely. And the main problem with following cars closely is, one, if the car was to suddenly brake in front of you, you might not have enough time to react. And secondly, if the car was to break down in front of you, then you will have to probably reverse back because the person behind you is also following you very closely. So to avoid that whole palaver of reversing back and the other car reversing behind you as well, you allow yourself enough space from the car in front. The route that we did last time, obviously the examiner said follow the signs for Croydon. It is similar to that route, but there is an addition of another big roundabout that we're going to cover today. So assume that the examiner has said follow the sign for Croydon initially. So I can't see the sign yet, it's quite further ahead. So again, I'm going to keep my safe distance from the car in front and just roll in traffic as I'm going along here. Again, remembering to put my handbrake on. Remember the issue of a handbrake. A lot of students do ask, why do I have to put my handbrake on when I'm sitting in traffic? Well, one, if a person was to hit you from behind, a rear end collision, the natural thing that your body would do is you'll move off the brake pedals and maybe your clutch will come up and you will perhaps go and hit the car in front, or minimum you will roll forward. So that's one of the reasons. Also, another reason is when you're driving at night time, and if you think about some of the new Audis and the Mercedes, their brake lights are really bright, and the glare that produces, the person who's sitting behind you will be like, please take your foot off the brake. So give your foot a break, give the person behind you a break by not having your foot on the brake when you're sitting in traffic lights or in big traffic. Use your handbrake, it's the best form. Now we're coming up to the sign. It's the Lombard roundabout, and the sign that the examiner said is Croydon. So approach it in the left hand lane and you don't signal on approach to this roundabout. Remember, by now you would have learned the roundabout rule. If an exit is at 12 o'clock, which the Lombard roundabout is, at 12 o'clock, the Croydon one, then you stay on the left lane and you give a signal after the second exit, just as you're going past. You can approach it in the right lane, and people have passed in the past, but it's not the right way to do it, and you're relying on whether there is anyone on your left and whether you've cut across anybody, and all of those reasons. So you're relying on luck a little bit. So I'm just peeping and creeping now, using my clutch control. Remember, when you're peeping and creeping, you don't want to release the clutch. You just want to bring it up to the biting point and hold it there. Checking my mirrors. Because it's a big roundabout, there could be cyclists or motorcyclists. And remember, as I've said in the past before, the Mitcham test route is also a motorcycle test center as well. So you get a lot of motorcycles that are there. Now I'm looking for a safe gap back on the roundabout. It's not always there, unfortunately. So I'm gonna try and peep and creep. The car in front of you is just there. There's my gap, and I'm going to take the turn. I've just gone past first exit and going past second exit, checking my left mirror and giving a left signal. I'm also checking my right mirror, because sometimes cars do come on my right just to cut me out. I've just changed into third gear. Do remember to work on your gears as well. You don't want to be always traveling in second gear. If the road ahead is clear, as you can see it is, then you make progress. It is one of the things that you will be marked on your exam. If you don't make progress where you should, then you will be marked down as not making progress and driving to the appropriate speed for the road condition. So again, I see a pedestrian just slightly easing off my gas. She's getting into the car, so I've checked my right mirror and I've moved away. Now I'm just approaching around traffic lights. It's just gone red, so I check my center mirror, cover my brakes, clutch down, let it roll to a stop, into first gear. It's gone to amber. I've checked on both sides, and now I'm moving again. Checking my mirrors before I go into second gear. And again, we've got a little bit of traffic today. Again, it's common for this time of the day. If you do use the test center, the Mitcham one, then you want to book your test for the most appropriate time. The best times I find are between 10:30 and about 2 o'clock. And again, they're only averages. Sometimes the times could be busy even on those times. It depends on traffic. So I'm just going towards, I think this is the South Croydon roundabout, where you're going towards Sutton. So the examiner hasn't said anything, so I'm just going to follow the road ahead, assuming at all times I'm going ahead. Now on this road, you will be approaching a due carriageway. It's a 3-lane due carriageway, so the best lane for you to be on when there are 3 lanes is the left-hand lane, and you've got to pick that appropriately for the right time. My speed's about 28, and from early on, I'm gonna start positioning my car on the left. There's only 2 lanes here at the moment. There's a pedestrian that just decided to walk in front. Now it's going to be 3 lanes, so I'm going to check my left mirror, and then I'm going to get into the left-hand lane. Now the sign I want to follow is Sutton, so I'm doing 30 miles and just increasing my speed because this is a 40-mile zone. All of this due carriageway is a 40-mile zone, so bear that in mind. And I'm going to follow the road ahead. Now I know from experience that the road ahead becomes 2 lanes again. So obviously, me being in the left-hand lane, I don't have much to worry about because the left lane doesn't really change. Keep my distance from the car in front. Now, I'm just following the road ahead. The examiner wouldn't probably tell you anything until you get a little bit nearer to the roundabout. Just going past the pedestrian crossing again, so cautious. Around about here, the examiner will say, you're approaching a roundabout. I would like you to follow the signs for Sutton. Now, sometimes the examiner might say you need to get into the right lane, other times they might not. when to actually approach the roundabout. Now I find on this roundabout it's better to stay on the outside lane, because the Sutton exit, although it's after 12 o'clock, but it's on the left hand side. And as you'll see what I mean as you see me do it. So I'm just approaching that sign now. I can see it says Sutton, and it's number 1, 2, 3, 4th exit. There's small exits there. And now I'm in the middle lane, because there's 3 lanes here. I'm in the middle lane, and this is the best lane to be in. I'm going to give a right signal, and I'm going to take the turn. Now this is the best exit, best lane to be in. I'm going to steer around, go all the way around, check my left mirror. Now this guy's just cut across me, so I'm going to check my left mirror and give a left signal here. There's the Sutton exit. Now just coming off it, I want to maintain my right lane, because Sutton's on the right hand side. So I'll check my mirrors and give a right signal here. I'm moving along here. Now here you're going to see a give way, because I'm joining another 30-mile dual carriageway. So I'm going to come to a small pause. I'm going to look over my shoulder as I approach. There's nobody coming, so therefore I don't need to stop completely. Check my mirrors, accelerating and then changing to 3rd gear. So it's not too difficult. You've just got to make sure that you're looking at the roundabout to make sure that there is no other vehicles, or you're not obstructing any other vehicles. The speed limit here is a 30-mile zone. Again, ahead of you, you're going to see that we're going to be approaching a downhill. So therefore do keep a check on your speed. You don't really want to be going and accelerating more so that your speed goes above 30, because that would again equal to more faults on your exam sheet. Now just here there's a sign saying Sutton, and it's just saying that the road veers to the left, but I need to be in the middle lane going ahead. Look at the floor markings and you'll see which lane to be in. So here I need to be in the left lane going ahead. Just coming up to a gentle stop. It's a red light ahead, and covering my brakes. Again using my handbrake, so I'm going to be stopping here for more than a few seconds. Checking my right mirror to make sure there's no motorcycle or cyclist or even another car here, because 2 lanes do go ahead. The best lane to be in is the left hand lane again. These lights can be long, other times they're quite short, so you know, bear patience, don't be eager to go. The examiner wants to see a defensive driver, not aggressive one. So as I go along here, I check my right mirror, I get into 2nd gear, and again I'm just making sure that I'm positioning myself in the middle. There is 2 lanes, but the road markings don't exist yet. As I go along to the top of the hill, I want to be on the left of center lane, so not the far left, because that goes towards Gatwick, and not the the right lane either, that goes towards central London. I want to be in the middle lane. Again, possibly not visible from the camera, but the Sutton is actually a right turn and then an immediate left. So that's one of the things they could make you do, is to take a turn towards Sutton. It's a fairly busy route. At times it's busy and at times it's not. So again, you know, it just depends on the time of the day you pick your driving test. I have got my handbrake on again. It's a hill start, so do remember, for anybody who has a little phobia of hills, make sure you find the biting point and the bonnet rises. You feel that movement on the camera perhaps, and then I take my handbrake down. Then I gas and I hold the biting point until the car gently moves, and into 2nd gear, and off I go. Now all I need to do here is stay in the left hand lane. There comes the Sutton sign, so check my mirror, give a left signal, and then position my car where the arrow is showing, and keep your tires and tarmac again. Handbrake up into 1st gear and relax. One of the things that a lot of people do is they forget to relax. It's only a driving exam. On average that's going to last about 45 minutes. Now in 45 minutes, you know, obviously there's enough time for many things to go wrong, but try and relax and just think about safe driving check your left mirror before the turn, and then accelerating gently, checking my mirrors, and then moving off as I go ahead here. Now, once you've taken the turn, the examiner will probably say that's the end of your independent driving, and he will direct you from here. This part of the test route is quite simple. There's not many, big roundabouts left. You're coming through Beddington, just past the BMW garage and the Boyden's tiles, and it's a fairly quiet route, so there's not much to do, but do maintain 30 miles. It's a 30-mile zone, so maintain 30 miles, and as I said before, you want to make sure that you can do 30 if it's safe to do so. So don't travel at 20 miles on a 30 zone. If it is a trend, then you could fail in your exam for driving not at the appropriate speed. We're again approaching a traffic lights. I'm just checking my mirrors, making sure there's no pedestrians at the crossing, and covering my brakes here. There is a pedestrian here coming to a gradual stop. Notice how I'm trying to keep the braking smooth. Got my handbrake on, and it's specifically important on a Pelican crossing and all the crossings to have handbrake on. As I've discussed before, if someone does shunt you from behind, at least you won't go and hit a pedestrian. I'm moving along here, checking my mirrors, and then into third gear. The road is veering to the right. The examiner could use a sign here or say to me, turn right at the traffic lights. So I'm checking my appropriate lane. On the floor you can see it says right, and I'm going to give a right signal just so people behind me know where I intend to turn. I'm coming up to the traffic lights. I can see there's a car coming, so I'm going to stop in the middle and then take the turn, because we had a filter light and that light has just turned into green. Just moving along here. It's a fairly quiet road. It's more like, it's industrial state here. This is the Beddington lane coming up behind of IKEA, and over here it's a fairly narrow road at times, so on turns you've got to make sure that you are braking, but when you do have straight roads you've got to hit the speed limit. Don't be afraid, think about safety. If you do have to brake, then by all means do so, but then do get the speed up again so that you're matching your speed with the flow of traffic within the legal framework. Just going along here, travelling at 30 miles an hour. It's a fairly straightforward road, not much happening, just making progress. The examiner would expect you to check your mirrors and make progress accordingly. Obviously, if this is the exam, you would have done, 2 major roundabouts. You would have done a little bit of traffic driving, and then now what's left is probably the examiner's driving back. If you had done one maneuver already on the road, then you'll just be heading back towards the exam center. If you haven't done a maneuver, then what the examiner will do is make you do a bay parking maneuver inside the exam. Remember, there are 4 maneuvers for you to practice for the Mitcham exam center. There are bays inside the exam center, so you'd be expected to learn the bay parking. Now, a lot of people do find bay parking difficult, but my personal experience is it's one of the most easiest maneuvers to do out of all of the maneuvers. The simple reason is you don't have any outside factors to worry about so much, in that there isn't going to be other road users apart from other learners and their instructors. So therefore, most instructors will know when an examiner is doing a bay parking, and they will tell their students not to interfere or interact with the other learner. Whereas when you're doing a maneuver on the road, there is that issue of other road users pressurizing you, or going around you. You might not see them, another motorcycle, another pedestrian. So all of those factors are not really there in the exam center. So yeah, that is one of the reasons why personally we think that bay parking is a really easy one to can shunt forward. And again, you can refer to my future videos on bay parking if there are issues that students are still having. So yeah, we're just going along here. It's a fairly long road, but an easy one, as I've said before. You just, fairly straightforward. You just got to go in a straight line, and then obviously you're going to head towards the test center. We're almost there towards the test center. You're probably about 10 minutes away from it due to traffic, and then you're there. Just make sure that you're still focusing, even at the latter part of the exam, where you're probably mentally a little bit fatigued, having concentrated and having dealt with all of the road scenarios. But just remember, until the examiner tells you to turn the engine off, the exam is still valid and it's still going ahead, and you want to make sure that you're still focusing, because anything can go wrong until then. There's a little bit of traffic ahead, so we're more or less finished in terms of the test route. So I'm going to be signing off, and thank you for watching another test route by Echo Driving School in the Mitcham test route. Thank you very much.